Okay, welcome to The Varied Life. This is part 2 of the video that we did a little while ago that talked about when you could buy property, the recession, the exchange rate, and in this part we're going to start with how to check properties using a Korean website to find out things like how much the property costs, how many bedrooms, how many baths, what the taxes are, maybe even some layouts and pictures of the property. So let's jump right back in to part 2 right now. Okay, let's check out some properties on Naver. Like we said, we're going to use Google Chrome because Chrome, you're able to add that plugin or add-on to translate from Korean to English. So we're assuming that you've already installed that on your Chrome and or you have a PC solution to this translation problem. So the first thing we're going to end up doing is we're going to go ahead and go to Naver. So type Naver and we'll go ahead and enter. And we'll click on Naver, so it's naver.com, and what will come up is the Naver website. It's in Korean, but it's automatically translated into English, which is really nice. Now, for those of you who don't know, Naver is kind of like, it has everything. It has blogs, it has news, has financial information, has fashions, shopping, cars, books, anime, movies, anything that you could think of, you could probably find on Naver. But today what we're going to look at is real estate. So we're going to go over here to where it says real estate, and we'll click there, and it will pop up to a screen where you can select a certain part of Korea. And it doesn't really matter because basically what we're going to end up doing is we're just going to highlight something in green at random. We'll click on it, and what that will do is bring us up to a map. Now what we're going to end up doing is zooming out of the map, and as you can see why, because we're in the Seoul area, a ton of apartments for sale. It is just amazing. And let's explain this screen a little bit. If we go to the top left, we can see what's highlighted in green is apartment and office tells. So all of those purple boxes that you see are apartments or office tells that are for sale. Then next over you have villas and houses, which if we hit that, it would populate the map with those options. And then 1 or 2 rooms, commercial, business, factory land, so on and so forth. But we want to keep it on apartment, and what we're going to end up doing is zooming out, and the map will respond. So we zoom out, and what we end up with is Seoul right here, and we're going to go down here to where it says Pyeongtaek. So we're going to go ahead and move in, and as that zooms in and repopulates, that's the Pyeongtaek area. And this is the Gyeonggi-do Pyeongtaek-si, as you can see there. We'll zoom in a little bit more. And what we end up seeing here is this little peninsula off to the left, and that's basically where Camp Humphreys is at. And then this area over here is Paensongeup, or more specifically Anjungri. So what we'll end up doing is we'll kind of zoom in. Got to go in a little bit closer. Map will populate, and there's a bunch of apartments for sale. So what we're going to end up doing is we'll kind of zoom in a little bit, and we'll find an apartment that we can take a look at. And if we just kind of hover over, what we'll end up seeing is like a little explanation. When it says trading 33, that means there's a total of 33 units that are for lease or for sale. So anywhere from around a 210 million won to 250 million won. And let's see, what is this, 450 million won, Evergreen Oscarville. Let's go ahead and check this one out. It only has 5 properties right now. You can see that at 7th floor, that's the last one that traded for 430,500,000 won. But we're going to go down towards the bottom, and we'll see, how about this one here? 460 million won. It's in building number 104, and we can see some general information here. 206 square meters. It's the middle of a 13th floor building, so it's somewhere in the middle, south facing, all remodeled, best view, highest yield among military personnel, so on and so forth. So if we go ahead and click that link, it'll come up with a page and we can find out some more information. Now, for those of us who like pictures, we've got a couple of pictures, and there's two different layouts because they have two different options in this size of apartment that is for sale. And if we go ahead and click on that, it'll come up with a pop-up page. Again, it's translated into English, and there is the property. So over here on the right-hand side, we have a door, and that's the entryway into the apartment unit. As we come in, we've got kind of a kitchen area and a dining area here. This is your living room area, and right off to here is a small bathroom, looks like a powder room. We have a bedroom here, and then we also have a little patio area. So you've got some large windows here, and then you've got like a sliding glass door window type thing here. So that's one bedroom. Again, you've got some more patio action over here. If we go down, we see another bedroom with a full bath and has its own patio. Go back out to the living room area. We've got a small room here with a patio. Then we come into the master bedroom, and as you can see, we've got a 4-piece master bath. So there's different types of layouts, but this will give you, and they're mostly modernized Western apartments with regular appliances. Now, if we go up here, we can go ahead and click on pictures, and that will bring up some pictures of the Oscarville. We can also hit this arrow on the right, and it'll toggle through the pictures of the Oscarville apartments and just some different views of what it looks like. Some pictures that are included will only have the outside area of the apartment. Other pictures will actually show the inside of that apartment unit itself. So you have to do a little searching. Korean realtors don't have pictures of all the rooms on all their properties, but that's just what they do. So if we scroll down here, what we end up seeing is properties for sale. It's all remodeled, highest yield among military personnel rentals, so it's a good rental property. Vacancy rate in the building, it's about 87% full. We see that it's in the middle of the 13 floors. It's a 4-bedroom, 3-bath. Monthly maintenance fee is 24 million won. Management fee includes electricity and water. That's if it's renting out. Loan doesn't exist. South facing from the living room, that can be really important because during the summer it gets really hot and humid, and so if you have direct sunlight into your living room through the majority of the day, especially from 12 noon on, you'll use a lot of air conditioning, so keep that in mind. We have the entrance structure. Heating is individual gas for city gas that heats up the floor. You see availability dates, total number of parking spaces, 2.26. So basically it's 2 oversized parking. You can see the item number, which is like a reference number. You can find out the broker's information here with their phone numbers. And then down here, we end up seeing the brokerage fee and tax information. So all this information here is what you'd be expected to pay when you purchase this property. So you can see up to 1.84 million won, value added tax excluded. And then you see like acquisition tax is 460 million won, education tax 460,000 won, rural special tax is 920,000 won, so on and so forth. And then if we go further down, you can see like down here, the property tax is 95,100, some more taxes and so on and so forth. So this can get you some good information in regards to the property. Administrative expenses, I'm not really too sure about that because we've just been looking at like the brokerage fee, the apartment information, and pictures and so on and so forth. So with Naver, what you can end up doing is checking out a lot of different properties, and that'll help narrow down your search for where you want to possibly rent and or buy. So anyway, that's it. Naver's a great tool, and the Chrome web browser with the Korean English translation plugin is awesome. But that should get you started on how you can look for properties here in Korea. So now that we finished up and I showed you how to check out properties on Naver, are there any other things to consider when looking at properties as either buying a home or buying a rental property here in Korea? And there is. So some things to consider when you're buying a property or renting here in Korea. We have to talk about cars and parking. Now, back when I first got to Korea in 1988, just before the Olympics, there were 2 million cars registered for the 42 million people of Korea. So let's fast forward now to the end of 2022, and there are over 25 million registered cars for the 52 million people of Korea. So you can imagine finding a parking spot can be an issue at times. So when you're looking at a property, ask about parking, whether it's designated parking or it's free-for-all or it's street parking, underground parking, whatever it is. And let's just say having designated parking is a bonus. The good news is with the newer apartment buildings and villas and so on and so forth is they have many covered or underground parking structures. We've also seen some villa and houses that have outside parking, some with covered parking, or they might even have their own 1 or 2 car garages. Covered parking is nice. It's better than uncovered, obviously, but underground parking is the best, especially during the brutal winter months here in Korea. If owning a car isn't important to you, and it probably will be for your tenants, consider getting a place with assigned and or underground parking. Another thing to look at is security. Some apartments have it, others don't. Security keeps out unauthorized people, and it gives people this warm, fuzzy, and peace of mind. Most apartments with security have a security guard that checks people in. I'm not saying that there's crime in Korea to warrant security, but it's a nice thing and it's another bonus whether you're buying or renting a property. When it comes to maintenance, and think of it like an HOA type of fee, it depends on what you want to do. Now, personally, I had enough of doing lawn maintenance, shoveling snow and sidewalks, and so on and so forth when I was in the US and abroad. So personally, we're leaning towards more of apartment type living versus that of or a single family home where we would have to do that on our own. Now, the maintenance fee, usually what that will pay for is things like landscaping, painting of buildings, upkeep playgrounds, or the gym, or whatever amenities that you have in your location. Some properties don't even have maintenance fees, so be sure to ask your realtor if there are any fees and how much they are. Now, there are some people out there that enjoy yard work, and you're frugal as all get out, and you don't want to pay any extra fees, and I get that. Just know that as we get older, you might not want to do that later on, and you might not be able to do that physically later on, so keep that in mind when you're looking for a property to rent and or buy. Now, regardless of the type of property that you choose, whether you're going to rent or buy, you're still going to have to pay for utilities like electricity, gas, water, internet, and some other things, and everybody's favorite, property taxes. Now, one of the things that attracted us to Korea was the lower property tax. For example, the yearly property tax on our house in the small town of Florence, Colorado, population about 3,900, was about $1,700 per year when we left, or about $144 per month, versus a Korean apartment, a 3-2 apartment, that the property tax was about $175 a year. Now, we've seen some go up to $250 a year, but even then, that's only $20 a month. So another thing to consider as you're looking at properties like we did is to keep an eye on that property tax and put that into your budget. Other things to consider when looking for a place is what type of person are you? Do you enjoy the city? Do you want walkability? Do you like apartment living? And I will say apartment living in Korea is a lot better than what it is in the United States. People are more quiet and polite here than there, so take that into consideration. Now, you might be the type of person that you want to live a little bit further away, and that would require you buying a vehicle, and it might be a little bit quieter. So again, there's going to be some pros and cons of each, what you want and what your budget can handle, and just remember that. One thing I do suggest is visiting and renting in an area and spending a lot of time to find out if you like that area, and versus just going in, buying something, and then finding out you really don't like apartment living, or you don't like that part of the city that you're in. Here's a question. Does the property have a washer and dryer? Now, this might seem like a funny question, but there's a lot of properties here that don't have washers and dryers. So if that's the case, and you're not going to buy a washer and dryer, look around for laundromats and see if they're close by. For the most part, electronics and appliances here in Korea are a bit more expensive, but from our past time in Korea, the products and appliances are high quality and they've gotten better over time, and they last quite a while. So your next question might be, what expenses, like for electricity or water, gas, or food cost in Korea? What about internet, and so on and so forth? Well, in some apartments, the rental price might cover the internet, cable TV, others might include water or a combination of different utilities. So really it gets to the point of where you need to ask your realtor on what's included and what's not. So now the next question, so what do we pay for where we're at? Well, we're going to save that for another video, because after we spend a month in this place, then we'll actually get those amounts and we'll post a video on that. Of course, your mileage may vary depending on the time of year, how much of the utilities you use, and water, and so on and so forth. Now, some people say, I want to get a car when I get to Korea, so what is the price for gasoline in Korea? Now, that's a very good question. Whether you're going to rent a car while you're here, maybe it's just going to be on vacation, or you buy a car after you get your immigration visa approved, currently gasoline is around $1.20 per liter. So if you have a vehicle that has a 10-gallon tank, that comes out to 37.84 liters. So when you do the math, it would cost about $45 or so to fill up the tank. Now, this isn't too bad, but that gas price is expected to rise as we continue in this inflation and recession and so on and so forth. So you could see higher prices in 2023 and 2024. At least that's what the analysts are expecting. So if you're looking to get the most bang for your buck, you might also consider finding a real good gas mileage vehicle, something with high gas mileage like a subcompact or a compact. The other benefits of those is that you don't have to pay as much when you go through toll booths or parking, and yeah, that can work out well too. Now, as with the rest of the world, electric vehicles are a big thing. So people are asking, what are the rates for charging an electric car in Korea? Basically, the cost of charging an EV in Korea at a public charging station is about 173.8 won. It's about 15 cents per 1 kilowatt hour as of 2019. Now, there are apartments and homes and other private charging stations that cost between 83.6 and 174.3 won per kilowatt, depending on the season, the time of day, and so on and so forth. So it can still be a really good deal. Now, with that being said, electric vehicles in Korea can save you money. The combustion engine vehicles' cost of operation is 3 to 4 times that of electric vehicles. So EVs can save you about 1 million won per year, or around $800-900, which is pretty good in fuel when compared to a gasoline vehicle. But like everything else these days, electric charging rates are increasing everywhere, so keep that in mind. So in this episode, we talked about when you can buy a property in regards to a tourist visa or an F4 visa. We talked a little bit about the recession. We talked about the exchange rate, how to look up properties on naver.com to give you an idea of what properties and their prices and other details and property taxes by using Chrome or some similar solution that you found to translate from Korean to English. And then we talked about some things to consider, like cars, parking, and some other things, whether you are renting or considering buying a property here in Korea. And again, before you make any decision, make sure you consult with a professional and make an informed decision. Now, you got to remember that this YouTube channel is for entertainment purposes only, that documents our retirement in Korea. So your mileage may vary. I make no promises about prices, expenses, and so on and so forth. You got to do your own due diligence. So with that being said, again, make sure that you like and subscribe to The Varied Life on this channel, and look forward to seeing you again as we continue our retirement here in Korea. Peace.